Welcome! We are live!
Or at least pre-recorded
live
from our dining room table in Southwest Florida. We're covering episode 3, I think this is.
Yeah, son. Episode 3.
You can tell that we
our
don't
second
have
breakdown, and we're pumped because this is the debut on ESPN. This is our debut on ESPN.
Second
breakdown, yeah.
Pre-fight breakdown. I did a post-fight for UFC.
I was not there for that.
You were not. So.
I was under the weather.
Yes, and you turned into a lady for that episode.
Yeah, she wasn't as pretty as me though. So sorry, guys.
We've completely derailed from this. This is the episode for UFC Fight Night 143, give or take. There's an asterisk there because
I'm going to say that this is a fresh fight night. As you see on other websites, they have it as 143, but
yeah,
UFC has it as UFC Fight Night. So I think they're starting over.
Probably. Sean and I were talking about this right before we went live. Because technically it's UFC Fight Night 143, but like none of the promos and even on the UFC's website, it just says UFC Fight Night. So it might just be now that, yeah, since this is going to be the start with ESPN that they're starting over with their sequence and their numbering. So
fresh start.
Yeah, fresh start, fresh
Feeling
programming.
like the Febreze brothers, man. It's so fresh in here.
No, it's awesome, man. I'm super pumped. So this is going to be at the Barclays Center. In Brooklyn. How
great
awesome
venue.
is that? Great venue, great event.
I mean, what a place to start, right? New York.
ESPN. That's awesome.
Yes, it's just, isn't it, how awesome is it just to say ESPN?
ESPN.
Maybe not like that.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That's
Maybe
old
just
school,
like,
right? Like when you remember firing up the old video games.
I think you're thinking of EA. No games ever started with ESPN.
Or maybe it was.
It's EA.
Was it EA?
EA Sports. It's in the game. Yeah.
I thought it was. Oh, you're right. Shoot. All right. Scratch that. I am completely.
You wouldn't tell that he's the one that's older.
Yeah. Well, or I am because I'm already delirious and forgetting.
That's true.
I'm forgetting things.
We have gotten so sidetracked in the start of this podcast. It is unbelievable.
Should we start over?
No. We're just going to keep rolling.
All right. So, yeah, you're going to see us keep rolling.
All right. Let's get into some fight announcements.
Okay, UFC 143.
The last week, about 7 days, there have been some huge fight announcements that have got us really excited. Before we go into the breakdown, I'm not really going to go too much into these fights. Just announce them that Tyron Woodley will be defending his belt in March, the same card that John Jones is fighting on. He will be defending it against, to many people's surprise, Kamaru Usman, not Colby Dickhead Covington.
Oh, is that his official name? I haven't heard Bruce Buffer call him.
I had a different nickname for him, but I don't think I want to say it.
So, we were talking about that one because we did want to do, we were talking about doing a short video because there were so many fight announcements at the beginning of the year. We were just like, crap, we should really talk about this, but we didn't get the opportunity until right now. So why is that one going to be on with John Jones? Why are they stacking a card in the beginning of the year like that?
I think it's a safety net in case, for whatever reason, John doesn't make it. Yeah, who knows?
That is 100%.
I think you're going to be seeing that for the rest of John's career, is that there's going to be some safety nets on his cards.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. The reason they are putting Woodley on there, which not to mention, that is because Dana White obviously doesn't get along with Woodley, so it kind of sticks it to him by making him a co-main event.
So it's like a win-win for him.
It is, pretty much. And then at the same time, he is also ensuring
title fight for a main event.
A title fight,
as long barring no one gets hurt in that matchup.
Right.
But to a lot of people's surprise, everyone thought Colby Covington had a lock for the title shot, the next one at least.
Well, there must be some stuff going on behind the scenes there, because you would think that he sells himself.
I think from what I've heard, from what I've read online, is that Colby's turned down a couple opportunities to fight Tyron. Obviously, the one in September that Till took, that was when they really wanted him to fight. And then I think in maybe Madison Square. No, I think Tyron was hurt in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
That
was the one he hurt his hand, right? Because he hurt his hand after the Till fight.
Yeah.
And he needed some surgery, I think, maybe he ended up healing or something. But
I think he tries to avoid surgery, so I think he avoided it that time. But yeah, no Colby.
And supposedly he's asking for a lot of money to fight too.
He's talked a lot of shit. He's generated interest. So I mean,
Oh, I know, because we'll pay that. We'll pay just to watch him get knocked out.
Love or hate him, he's done his job. He has gotten us to want to pay money to see him get knocked the F out.
Yes, 100%.
Even if it was one punch in 1 second, it's money well spent.
Yeah. Not to mention, I think that this is going to be a good fight for Woodley because Usman's a big dude for 170, and Tyron supposedly is talking about going up to 185.
Yeah.
Kelvin's already calling him out, which is dumb on his part.
Yeah.
He looks stupid in that one, which we could talk about in a second. But, yeah, so he's talking about going up to 185 because at first I was like, dang, this dude's huge. I mean, Usman's like 6 foot, 6'1", and I mean,
he's a big dude, man. He's lean. He's
massive,
strong too,
and he's super strong.
Yeah.
So
strong wrestler, great wrestler.
Yeah. So
don't know if he's going to be able to win the wrestling battle with Tyron. I think that's something we're going to find out night of the fight. I don't think anybody's got it for sure. Who's going to win the wrestling?
Tyron's boxing is just like...
Tyron's got the huge advantage in the striking.
100%. But we'll talk about that when it comes.
Yeah, that's just a quick little rundown.
I was going to say that Kelvin thing is really pissing a lot of people off online because they actually fought before.
Kelvin missed weight by 10 pounds.
10 pounds. He missed the fight. So Tyron still took the fight, beat him.
He whooped him.
And... he gave him back his fight purse that Kelvin technically had to give over for missing weight.
Yep.
And Tyron gave it back to him. And now people are like, and you're calling him out, talking shit, saying that he doesn't belong at that weight class because...
I believe what he said is Tyron, he knows Tyron doesn't want the smoke.
Oh, that's what he said.
He doesn't want the smoke after that first fight. It's like, come on, man. You lost, you were overweight, and he gave you your money back. He beat you.
Yeah, really.
He ain't afraid of the smoke. Let's be honest.
Instead you're just blowing smoke up ours. But
all right.
Yeah. So, anyways, other fight announcements. I know you had a few down.
Big one in London: Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal. That is a striker's delight.
What? That one's gonna.
Masvidal only knows one thing, and that's to go forward.
Yes, he does. And Darren Till is fantastic.
He's severely undersized in this fight, so it'll be interesting to see. Darren Till is massive. Talk about a guy that needs to go to 185, go to middleweight. But we'll talk about that.
We'll break that one down. That's going to be a fun fight, though. That's headlining, right?
That is a headline of a fight night in London.
Doesn't
and I believe, I could be wrong about this. I know Leon Edwards is the co-main event. I believe his opponent is Gunnar Nelson for the co-main event.
You're right. I did see that one. I think that was announced.
So that's a good fight. That's a good co-main event.
That's a fun event, too. So, what else you got?
Moving on from that, in Brazil, they were doing, I think it is UFC 235 maybe, is in Brazil, and they got their headliner. Rose is back, Rose Namajunas against Jessica Andrade. A little bit of a weird story to that. The champion going to the enemy's territory. You don't really see that.
That is really weird.
You might see that with some bad blood, maybe, but for this fight, that's a little weird. But hey, gets him back in, gets the belt moving again.
Because you know what, I think the UFC wants a good Brazilian champ. They
do so well down there.
Exactly.
They do so well in Brazil.
Yeah. So any chance they can have at a Brazilian champ is fantastic.
Brazil shows up for their own, man.
Rose, you just never know where her mental state is at. She was affected a lot by the whole
bus attack. Yeah,
the bus attack. When a kid had a hissy fit and threw something at the bus, and she was in a weird mental state, whatever. So there's that. But we'll see.
Yeah. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the fight of the year has been announced already.
Yes, it has.
Edson Barboza versus Justin Gaethje. I can't remember exactly what night that is. They could take our money for this fight. It's going to be free, I believe.
No way. Is it really?
I believe it's a fight night. I could be wrong about that. I can't remember what night it was announced for. But if they're not charging people money for this, they're stupid.
Oh, my God. All right. So real quick shout out. We're doing a DraftKings episode. Check it out. It should be up and running about the same time as this podcast came out. But holy crap. If I had to pick two people in one fight, I would pick both of them on the same DraftKings lineup just because they are going to blast each other into oblivion.
There's going to be more shots landed than missed.
Crap, man. I can't wait.
Anytime Justin Gaethje's fighting, it's going to be someone's going to die.
Oh, yeah, and then especially...
I referred to that Mike Perry interview where he said someone's going to bleed and somebody might die.
Man, it puts a smile on my face just talking about that. When that got announced, I remember my face was like...
It's like, we couldn't have moved that to ESPN? Come on, ladies.
I know, really. Especially after the show.
No, make us wait. Make us wait.
Yeah.
Make us wait.
Breathe.
Tease us a little bit. Hang in front of us. It's okay. It's okay.
So what do you have? Did you have any other announcements on the board?
I believe that is the 4 biggest ones.
Yeah.
Maybe I think a couple small ones were added here and there. Land of Venat has been added to the Australian pay-per-view with Whitaker and Gastelum.
Mm-hmm. That was right after he just signed a new 4-fight deal with the UFC.
Yep. And I did announce the Leon Edwards and Gunnar Nelson, so I think that's about it for the last week.
Hey, that's one heck of a month.
That's a great week for the UFC. That's a great week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's to make up for a slower month. I think in the first podcast we were saying that we weren't going to do a lot of the fight nights like this, but this is the only event for the month. So
yeah, they got rid of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, so we figured we would do that.
This is also, I think, actually, going back to Woodley and Covington, I think they wanted...
that's right. They were supposed to fight.
This is another month that the card that they were wanting them to fight. That's the reason they had to take the card out. They had no title fights. That was the only one they were looking for.
That's right.
So moving on.
Two other quick notes I made. Cyborg is about to start renegotiating her contract.
Woo-woo!
I feel so bad for her, man. Like, she's been a warrior waiting for the UFC.
Yeah.
Amanda made her wait a year to have this fight. It's just, like, if there's no doubt that before this fight, Cyborg would have been in charge of the negotiations. Now, she's almost begging the UFC to keep her.
I disagree a little bit with that, just because I think she has a good follower. I think she sells.
No, she does. But she literally on Twitter, or maybe it was an interview, said, UFC, don't cut me, please. I'm going to come back. I'm going to do my thing.
That's just...
So
the fact that somebody who's just lost her first fight in how long, and is as dominant as she is, has to say that is a crime.
Because there's nobody at 145 though.
That's true. But Kat Zingano's been wanting that fight, even if you just signed.
Megan called her out too.
Yeah,
Megan said, "Let's fight."
And who's that judo? chick? I know that she's a legit 145, or she wants Cyborg too. So there are options.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they some other.
You don't always have to have a title to entertain us.
No,
just give us the fights.
So here's my second announcement. Amanda's been, I like her as a fighter, but she is hard to like outside of the cage.
Yeah, I've seen that she's avoiding that rematch.
Yeah, the first thing that she says is, "I made her wait a year, and now I'm going to make her wait 2." Like, you beat her. Like, why are you threatening her?
Yeah, she should be getting her back in there as soon as possible.
That doesn't make any sense. She won handily, so I mean, I get that but like 2 years, that's a weird time for. I don't know. It's a whole weird situation. But now she's saying that she wants the 125 belt.
I'm pretty sure that was a joke.
Well,
I took it as a joke, to be honest.
You thought so?
I took it as a joke.
Oh. Well, I think that she was pretty serious because everybody now seems to be belt hunting at different weight classes.
It is interesting. I don't mind the people belt hunting. I think it creates interesting matchups. I don't want to see all these people going to weight classes to win belts just to give them back up.
Oh, I know.
I don't mind if it happened every now and then for the right fight.
We're going to be talking about that in the main event.
We'll talk about that a little bit more. But I would like to see these more of these champ fights. The winner defending the second belt too. Shout out to Daniel Cormier. Say what you want about him, but he's defended both belts.
Mm-hmm.
So, or he did at least while he had them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So those were the quick fight announcements that we want to talk about. Just some stuff going on in the UFC between matchups, typical news, so on and so forth. So a lot of exciting stuff. 2019 starting off hot. Next month, February, is going to be hot. There's like 4 events in 4 weeks. Kind of makes up for a slower January, which is probably good. Everybody's getting back.
That's one good thing the UFC does is they'll pour events on you week after week after week, but they'll take a nice break from you, and then you get really amped up. Even if it's not necessarily a great card that has outstanding fights, but if it's got some decent fights, you're pumped up just because you haven't had it in a while.
Yeah, and they're pretty good too. I think
you haven't tasted the blood.
I actually want to say like 3 of the 4 fights next month are free, or they're fight nights.
Yeah, it's usually one pay-per-view for the month, and then whatever other fights they're doing.
So that's not a bad deal.
No.
All right, so let's jump into it. UFC Fight Night 143, or just UFC Fight Night.
I'm calling it UFC Fight Night 0, baby. We're starting over.
That's actually pretty exciting to think about that on ESPN.
Keep saying it.
On ESPN, I love it. No doubt the Fox era was fantastic.
Love Fox, man.
And
Fox
they
did such a great job.
Oh, their production value, the whole 9. But guess what? Fox got bought out by Disney, and how all those properties are getting dispersed is just it's insane. But so it's just natural that they go to ESPN, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point,
it's the worldwide leader in sports. They have the biggest market, the biggest outreach. Without a doubt.
So the early prelims are going to be on ESPN Plus. The regular prelims, headlined by Donald Cerrone and Alex Hernandez, which we'll get into here in a minute.
Boy, that's a fight.
is going to be on ESPN. That one starts at 8 p.m., that card. And then the main card flips back to ESPN Plus.
Sign up for your subscriptions now. Don't be cheap. It's $5 a month.
Just so you know, that plug, we're not getting paid for
We're not getting paid, but support these fighters.
Yeah. Have you seen our shirts? We're not getting paid for this.
Do you think we'd be here if we were getting paid?
There would be a nice green screen here.
There'd be a nice green screen.
Something cool behind. But no, so we're definitely not getting plugs for this. But it's only $5, and it's so much better than Fight Pass. Sean and I, we can't even talk about.
I've had ESPN Plus for a little bit. I've worked through it. It's a good app. It's a good app.
Yeah.
It's better than Watch ESPN. I've had some problems with Watch ESPN, but I didn't have any problems with ESPN Plus. Haven't used it too much, but so far have had no problems.
Good. All right, so just real quick, Sean and I, again, we didn't want to touch on every single fight in this card going forward, but we just did want to touch on maybe a few fights to look out for, especially on the early prelims.
A lot of guys making their debuts, a lot of young fighters who have some exciting backgrounds, a lot of knockouts, a lot of finishes. So watch the whole card. Watch this whole card because you don't know who's the future on this one.
Specifically, we got Bilal versus Jeff Neal, however you want. That one always ticks me off. Geoff. Because I've had it pronounced a few different ways.
I believe it's Jeff.
Joff, whatever it is. But anyway, so that should be an exciting fight at welterweight.
Stay tuned to our DraftKings episode to get a little bit more breakdown on that fight.
Yeah. Dennis Bermudez is fighting Edwards. So that's Dennis Bermudez is always entertaining. This Edwards kid lost his actual first fight in the UFC. So it's interesting that he's actually the favorite going into this fight with Bermudez, who's historically been just an exciting fighter and a strong fighter. But we'll see what goes on. That one's always a fun card to watch. And then moving on to the prelims,
Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Bautista. Don't know much about Mario, but Corey's a big prospect at bantamweight. He's had some big finishes, heavy favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. Alonzo Menefield, we checked out two of his fights.
I can only describe Alonzo Menefield as one way. He has the exact body of Yoel Romero, but a little less athletic, but the power's there.
Oh, God. This guy looks like a beast.
He looks like an action figure.
Yeah, I can't believe he's at light heavyweight. I mean, the guy looks...
I thought he was a heavyweight when I first saw him. I thought he was a heavyweight.
Dude's huge.
I was like, this guy's 205 pounds. I weigh more than that on the daily. Like, Jesus.
I mean, I guess he makes up for it in height because he's only 6 foot. Not like that short, but obviously John Jones is 6'4".
Not a crazy reach. 76. I mean, compared to John Jones, as you mentioned, that's where you.
Yeah, he's at 83.
That's where you compare because at light heavyweight, there's not a whole lot there, especially since John dispatched of Alexander Gustafsson and made it look easy.
Yeah, really. So, but no, that guy's a monster. He looks huge. So that should be a fun that should be a fun fight to watch. And then we were talking about this one. We have Calderwood versus
pretty fun
Lipsky.
fighter to watch, and Ariane Lipsky. Haven't really watched her. I don't know. I think this is her debut.
Yeah, in the UFC it is.
6 knockouts for a woman. That's pretty eye-opening.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And she has, I believe, it was 2 or 3 submissions and 11 wins. So she finishes fights.
Yeah, absolutely. She's the -200 favorite in that one. So that's
straight out of Curitiba.
Curitiba, Brazil.
Maybe if she has a big win, probably find her back on that Brazil card with Rose and Andrade.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. So, all right. So we're gonna kick it off with the headliner for the prelims.
My early pick for fight of the night.
Alex Hernandez and Donald Cerrone.
I feel like that was kind of like a really easy, that wasn't like, wow, real big insight on the fight of the night picking Donald Cerrone in that one.
I know we've talked about
it's
this.
the easy pick, ladies and gentlemen.
I know he has so many Fight of the Night awards in the UFC. He's got to be up there. I forget the exact number, but he definitely has.
He's
a lot
game,
of them.
man. He's as game as he come.
I mean, the guy's 34-11 and 0 with one no contest in there. So the guy has freaking experience. But Alex Hernandez,
yeah, he's big time prospect,
mm-hmm.
and he's got some dog in him. He likes to fight. He's ready to come forward.
Yeah. So Sean and I were talking about this. We think that this is going to be a potential fight of the night. This is going to be very exciting. It's gonna be interesting to see what Donald comes out. Sometimes you just never know what you're gonna get with him.
I mean, Donald can come out and look like the guy who's challenged for a world title, and other times he comes out and he looks basically like a stepping stone, like he has been at times for the guys like Darren Till.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just curious, first fight back at lightweight in probably about 2 years, I would think.
Yeah.
I believe since he lost to Rafael dos Anjos, that was back in 2015, so now we're in 2019, so that was at the end of 2015, though, so probably closer to 3 years.
And it gets harder to cut that weight as you get older, too. That's why RDA
He's not a very
went
thick
up,
guy.
so.
And he's done it so many times, he just knows. He knows his body, and he knows how to do it, so.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is he gets the height advantage in this one, 6'1" to Hernandez's 5'9".
Not a big reach advantage.
That is the surprising part. So I talked about this in our last podcast, actually, with Whitney plugging in for you there, is like really good strikers for whatever reason just have like stupid reach. So to that point, Alex Hernandez, even though he's a 4-inch shorter fighter, he actually has 1 inch shorter reach advantage than Donald Cerrone.
By far, though, the biggest step up in competition for Alex Hernandez.
100%.
He's had he had a couple good opponents in his first few fights. But Donald Cerrone, man, that's a real test. That means the UFC's looking at you to be something if you're fighting him as your third fight. So.
Yeah, just looking at the betting odds on here, let's just see what Vegas is picking for this fight. I know that Hernandez is the favorite. Yeah, so as of yesterday, which was Wednesday the 16th, he was the minus 200 favorite to Cerrone's plus 160, which isn't like necessarily a huge huge favorite, but it's big enough to make a statement that, they're looking for him to win in that one. So that's exciting.
It'll be interesting to see. Hernandez likes to use his wrestling. Obviously, Cerrone's super dangerous off his back. Great jiu-jitsu. So we'll see something's got to give in that fight as far as that goes. And I would give the striking advantage to Cerrone as long as...
Because he's going to be the much tighter fighter, his form's much tighter.
Yeah, his technique, he's going to be there.
Yeah.
His timing, his range, he's got to know what he's going to need to do.
I mean, at the same time, I can see Alex coming up and catching him because from what I saw from him in his last fight, when he fought Mercier, that's the one I was looking for. When he fought Mercier, he has those big shots. He hits hard. He comes over the top. So and Cerrone can keep his hands down a bit,
He's
being that
getting
link.
finished.
Yeah. So I can see that 100%. That could be where this fight goes because Mercier, Beneil Darius, he finished Beneil, which
in the first round
is awesome.
42 seconds.
And and to beat Mercier, who's a fantastic lightweight as well. I mean, that's
really good lightweight. Like I said, they clearly have high hopes for this kid. I mean, your first 3 fights in the UFC are Beneil Darius, Olivier Aubin-Mercier, and Donald Cerrone. They have some hype for you.
Because
they expect you to be something.
Because the lightweight doesn't have enough contenders right now.
I was going to say, at that division, if they're giving you those animals to start your career, good luck, kid. Good luck, because it ain't going to get any easier. Not in that weight class.
No, it's not, especially if he shoots up passes. But, I mean, he's a good prospect. He's only 26 years old. He's 10-1 right now. His only loss was by decision, so he's not someone that particularly gets finished. He's someone that finishes more than he goes to decision. So,
like we said, he's game. He's gonna. I expect him to come out early firing. A lot of people do against Donald because he's, notoriously a slow starter, and you can work him to the body pretty quick. That's his weak point. That's really where you can get to him quick. Mm-hmm. That's where he's a little soft. I think it's from a lot of his drinking. He's pretty known for his love of beer.
Yeah.
Respect. I'm in that same boat. I expect Hernandez to come out firing early, but I'm just picking Cerrone on this one, man.
Are you? You're going with Cerrone?
I think I'm picking Cerrone on this one. I think he's going to weather the storm early, like he has a few times. I think he knows what to expect. He's been in too many of these stepping stone fights, these gatekeeper fights. Mm-hmm. He knows what he needs to do. He's not afraid to unleash any strike in the book because he can fight off his back. He can fight anywhere where this fight can go. He can win.
Yeah. So actually, we're looking at some stats just to go to your point. I mean, he lands a lot higher percentage-wise. So, or I guess number of punches. He averages 4.09 punches a minute, whereas Alex Hernandez is looking at 2.99, so just under 3.
But if you're going to look at the defense, the absorb per minute,
exactly,
that's a huge difference right there.
But absorb per minute, Alex is looking at a lot lower. He does not absorb a lot.
That's where that Muay Thai background from Donald comes in.
Yeah.
Willing to take one to give one.
Absolutely.
Apparently he's willing to take 4 to give one.
Which could make it... Which actually is exactly the odd split on here. So Alex Hernandez is looking at like 1.5 essentially punches absorbed per minute, whereas Donald's looking at just over 4 punches absorbed.
Yeah,
per
at this
minute.
point in your career, that's not something you want to see from Donald. You hope that his defense is going to be there. He's going to pick his shots a little bit better.
Yeah,
I'm hoping he will. I think he will. He's a smart guy. He has a high fight IQ. I think he knows he's getting a little bit older. He can't take the shots like he used to, and that he's going to have to be smarter.
Yeah, and this one's going to stay on the feet. I can't imagine Alex is going to take him down or anything. So
I could see him shooting for it, and you never know when he needs to steal some points late in the round.
I just meant mostly because Cerrone's defense is so good. His wrestling
is,
defense.
But he likes to use his kick. So if he times it well, Alex is a good wrestler. He catches a kick, he could get him down.
Fair,
but like I said, Donald's guard's dangerous, man.
Yes, absolutely.
It's as dangerous
100%.
as a lot of. Pretty much just about anybody but the elite jiu-jitsu artists, I would say.
Yeah.
I'd say he's right under those elite guys.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to go with Hernandez in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
I like stacking up the lightweight rankings. I think it's such a great division, and just to throw another young guy up in there, which actually I think it's good because we've talked about this a few times, is like the UFC forces too many young guys up into those spots a little early. And I think that this is a good spot because he can be thrown up into the higher rankings, but because there's kind of that stopgap right now while there's a bunch of contenders waiting for a title shot.
Yeah, this is a good time for him to get
exactly.
these fights in as long as he stays active.
Yeah, so
that's a good point. I like that point because, like you said, we have talked about some of these guys being pushed too fast, too far.
Yeah, so
this would be a good setup for maybe a top 10 opponent, maybe lower in the top 10 rankings, because it's clear that he deserves it if he wins this fight, especially if he wins it in exciting fashion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna go with the young guy in this one. I say, hey, why not? Let's see some youth win on the lightweight ranking side. So you got Cerrone, I got Hernandez. Vegas has Hernandez in that one. So that's pretty much the only one that we're covering on the prelims. We're gonna actually jump to the main card.
Yes, sir.
There's a 6-fight main card going on.
Get your money's worth.
On
You're getting more fights than you're paying for $1.
That's true. $5 for 6
ESPN,
fights.
you got to pay me some money, man. Come on.
They should. I'm going to send that to them and be like, hey, look, this guy's plugging you really well. But we're going to go to the main card as well. So real quick, I guess we can touch on the Glover Teixeira and Carl Robertson.
Yeah, light heavyweight. The least intriguing division, in my opinion, in the UFC. Now, especially since John Jones has come back and looks as dominant as ever, if not even more. It just, to us, looks like that division is going to be stuck in limbo with John at the top. Pretty much consensus, the greatest talent that has ever stepped in the octagon with not much behind him.
No.
He's dispatched his best challenger at the division. No Cormier. I don't see them fighting again.
Especially with this fight, so we're talking about Glover Teixeira and Carl Robertson. Robertson, I'm pretty sure is a fill-in, if I remember correctly. I think that Glover
7-1. You got to imagine they have some pretty good hopes for this kid. Not a lot of prospects at this.
Well, he's coming up from 185 too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he took this on a later.
Could be following the footsteps of Anthony Smith, maybe seeing how he's had a lot of success. Just like Rockhold is seeing the success that Anthony Smith is having, making the jump up. I like this move though for Carl Robertson, I'm sorry. you see a lot of these guys moving up in an extra weight class. They're having a lot of success. They feel great.
They're not drained.
They're hitting with power too.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, you hear guys like Daniel Cormier and Kevin Gastelum, even Anthony Smith. Like the power that I have in my hands now, it's unreal. It's not even close to when I was cutting weight. And I mean, some of these guys are only, not dropping an extra 10 pounds. I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot. Maybe it is a lot.
Those last 10 pounds
it's all water weight. It just kills you. Some of these guys look like skeletons when they step on the scale.
Yeah.
Like a certain fighter in the main event. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, so we didn't really want to touch on this fight too much. There's not here. Glover Teixeira is the old veteran. He's a one-trick pony for the most part.
I just think it's going to be a solid scrap to kick off ESPN.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think Carl, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure Carl's a late fill, and that's why he's coming up from 185. He's only 7-1, so
Could be a home for him.
So if anything, it's a shot for a young guy, and if not, I mean, Glover's 40 now, so it might also be a decent going out party for him. He's at the back end of his career, so he's had some tough fights lately. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that card. Again, we just wanted to, or for that fight, sorry, we just wanted to touch on that one real quick.
Glover could finish the fight with, he's got some pop in his hands. His last thing to go is the power, so you never know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we talked about this before. He's traded off wins and losses. Looking back, he just lost to Corey Anderson. That was by decision, but he beat Misha Serkinov, there you go, thank you, by TKO, to your point. He still has that power. He lost to Gus. That was a fun fight to watch by knockout.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
Yeah, and then he beat Jared Cannonier, but he lost to Anthony Johnson, but who didn't get knocked out by Anthony Johnson at that time. So
he sent his tooth into orbit.
That was crazy.
I remember
Anthony Johnson has dynamite in his hands.
I remember I went instantly to Facebook and I saw a meme. If you walk outside right now, you might catch Glover's head. That was frightening.
Yes, that guy's a monster. So he's traded off fights. I mean, to that point, he can still win. So we'll see. We'll see going forward. He's always a game fighter. I think he, knockout or nothing. So he's always exciting to fight, to say, watch fight,
absolutely,
to say at least. So moving on to the next fight, we have, I guess, can you say fan favorite, Paige Van Zandt?
This fight is
Rachel
on.
Ostovich.
We've talked about this. This fight's on the main card for a reason. It's not to say that these ladies aren't talented, but they are beautiful women, to say the least, and that people are going to be entertained just by them stepping in.
Paige Van Zandt's coming up to
second fight at 125.
Is this her second? I thought this was her
even
first
though
one.
the UFC has her at 155 on that screen. God damn, she even put on some weight.
No, she's coming up to 125 for the first time. I mean,
the second time. This is the second time.
Oh, it is the second time.
She lost her first fight. It was a while ago. She broke her arm in that fight. It wasn't really competitive, but she did break her arm early in that fight, so that probably was a big factor. But Paige has got a huge following. She does a lot of social media. She's done cooking shows. She's been on Dancing with the Stars.
But she lost her Reebok.
Yeah, she hasn't been very active. That's a problem. But
she's only 7-4.
Rachel's
4-4.
Interesting thing about this card, and I'm sure if you guys follow mixed martial arts, you've heard all about this. Rachel Ostovich recently had a domestic dispute. She was the victim of a beating from her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. And then you have Greg Hardy on the card.
Yeah, that's been a big topic of discussion, is having Greg Hardy, who also has been the topic of
on the wrong
side of domestic. I mean,
it's
got him kicked out of the NFL. It's the reason he's in the UFC.
Right.
It's not the reason he's in the UFC, but it's the reason he's not playing football and that he's fighting now is because he had all those problems and he got kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
So you wonder, this was just December or November that this happened, so this is really recent. She had an orbital bone break. You wonder where she is physically, mostly mentally, where she is, getting ready to fight now. I mean,
it could be one of two ways. She can either be super pumped, or she can, trying to get that, trying to get that outlet, or I don't know. It's hard to say, but
I got to imagine she's, doing this one for the women that have, been through something similar, trying to, show some empowerment and, good on her for it. I mean, that's tough, man. All respect to her for stepping in there.
You know what? Just because you put that point out there, I'm picking Ostovich in this fight.
I think she's got more to fight for in this one. I do. But I think I'm going to go pick Paige because I just think, I don't know, going through what she just went through so recently, I don't know where Rachel is mentally.
Well, Vegas agrees with you. Van Zandt's the minus 160 favorite to Osavici's plus 130. I can see that. Paige has good. She has good stand-up technique, or pretty good stand-up technique.
She's a well-rounded fighter.
Yeah, she's a
She
well-rounded
doesn't do
fighter.
anything outstanding.
No, she has some entertaining, flashy like switch kicks.
You know, the one thing that you saw when she fought Rose, where she really got beat bad, she's got some dog in her. She's not going to give up easy. So
that comes from that fight camp she's with down there, Faber and all them boys.
She moved out of there a little while ago. She's in Portland, Oregon now.
Oh, is she? She's not with Alpha?
No, she left there a while ago, actually. I think this is her second or third fight away from the camp.
You can tell how much I've kept up with Van Zandt lately.
You know, it's hard to really keep up with her because she's been so inactive. She might have fought once in the past, like once a year in the past 3 years. So
yeah, so it hasn't been entertaining. So she has the reach advantage. She's 1 inch taller. She has a 3-inch reach advantage.
According to this, she has a 30-pound weight advantage.
Yeah, a little mistypo there. She has more knockouts, submissions. So I mean, it's a toss-up in this fight to me. I'm not overly impressed. It's a 7-4 versus,
like I said, it's
a 4-4.
Not that
so.
these ladies aren't talented, but they're on here because of their looks.
Yeah. So
and because there's a good story behind it if Rachel wins.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, I hate to say it, but just that one's not too exciting for me. But so we'll move on. Actually, to talk about not exciting on the men's side, not really.
Yeah, to go back to the men's side, I think this fight's up there just because Benavidez has been there, done that. He's beaten pretty much everybody.
You know what this exactly is for? Is if Cejudo wins the main event, Benavidez is in line for that title shot. Because if you don't remember, when they actually first created the 125 division, everybody said that this was Benavidez's division to own because nobody realized what DJ was going to be. Nobody realized the GOAT was sitting there waiting to take his throne. So. But yeah, originally when they made 125, it was for like everybody thought Benavidez was just going to own it. Right now, he's the number 2 ranked fighter at that weight class, and then Dustin Ortiz is number 8. So honestly, this is to set it up.
He holds a win over the current champ. So it's to your point. Benavidez wins, Cejudo wins. Maybe they don't get rid of the division. It's up in the air right now whether they do or not. So
there's nothing bad about him. He has very tight.
Really solid fighter.
Yeah, he's really a very solid fighter. He's
again another guy that's not
fighter.
really outstanding in anything. He doesn't specialize necessarily in anything.
Yeah,
but he's good all around. An alpha male product.
Yeah, so. He uses the jab really well. Stays on the outside. He'll hit you with some combos and pop back.
He can do whatever he needs to do to win the fight.
Exactly.
He can do it. If he has to wrestle, he'll have to wrestle. If he has to go for a submission, whatever he's got to do.
Yeah, so he's
got to grind you out. He'll do it.
Yeah, so again, not particularly excited for this one. Even with Dustin Ortiz in there, these guys pretty much match up pretty well. Benavidez is 5'4" to Dustin's 5'5". Their reach is essentially the same as 65 inches. Leg reach is almost the same. So, and the funny thing is, when you look at their win-by percentage, their knockout, submission, and decision, they almost look like the same fighter when you're looking at almost all of their stats side by side. Average fight time
is only 16 seconds apart.
Only 16 seconds apart at 12 minutes for Benavidez and 12:16 for Dustin.
The reason these guys fought to a decision the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't see any change in here. I think it's going to go to decision again, and I think Benavidez is going to take this one.
Unless your name is Demetrius Johnson, I'm picking Benavidez.
Absolutely. And Vegas agrees with us. He's the minus 240 favorite in this one. Actually, and this is the first one you and I have agreed on, even though this is only the third fight that we've really looked at. Actually, I guess we didn't really pick anybody for the Teixeira fight, but to be honest, I wasn't excited about that one.
Yeah, we're not not too hyped over that one.
No. I mean, again, there's plenty of fights, so don't make these last 2 fights that we kind of dragged on. Don't let that discourage you from the rest of this card. There's tons of good fights.
Please watch this whole card.
Yeah, it's going to be entertaining. It was just these last 2 fights I'm not overly pumped about. But
now we're getting into the meat of the card.
Yes.
Now we're getting to the steaks. We were just hitting the appetizers. Now we're hitting the steaks.
Steak night. We got Gregor Lipsy and Yancy Medeiros coming down from 170 to 155 to fight an absolute beast in this division.
Yeah, Gregor's on the rise, man. Quick rise. Maybe a fight with Alex Hernandez if they both win could be on the horizon. Thinking about that right now. You're talking about two young guys who are trending upward. That's something the UFC likes to do. But Gregor, man, he likes to dictate the pace. He likes to wrestle. I think we talked about this a little bit on our DraftKings. Once he gets you down, if he wrestles you, he ain't sitting there trying to grind you out. He ain't just going to sit on top of you for the rest of the round. He's going to advance and he's going to smash you. So he's coming to win.
So I like a lot about him. The only problem that he has that I can see Yancy picking apart is that he'll be high, tight, and he'll take shots. He has a high guard. He has a high striking guard,
right.
Which is good. So he won't take a lot of those big shots like you see with guys like a Conor McGregor that keeps his hands a little bit lower when he strikes.
Yeah, not as polished of a striker, so he's got to kind of...
Yeah, not necessarily, but he does have crisp boxing. He has crisp, powerful boxing because he throws a lot of power shots, which makes him entertaining to watch. And the other thing that I love that he does well is he transitions into his wrestling so well. He does his freestyle wrestling, from what I've seen from his couple fights, from the couple fights I've watched of him, is fantastic. And he gets position very quickly. And that's something that's exciting because sometimes you have a wrestler, he just gets down and lays on top of a guy and it just gets kind of boring. Yep. He moves position very fast.
It's like I mentioned, he's looking to finish the fight.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
He does not want those MMA judges to score his fight because he knows they could take it away from you.
Yeah.
If you think boxing's bad, which boxing is terrible, MMA can be just as bad.
Yeah, well, it's because a lot of time you get the same judges that come over, but they just bring their filth over. But no, back to this fight. Man, he is very entertaining. And to Yancy's point, man,
love Yancy, man.
He's a 15-5 fighter. He's
true Hawaiian spirit.
Oh,
he's a game for fighting.
He's a great fighter.
As I think Mark Hunt says, he's always game to play punch face.
What a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, his knockout percentage from his wins. So again, he's 15-5. His knockout percentage of his wins is over 50%.
I believe this is his first fight since he fought Cowboy.
I will look that up right now. It's been a little while since.
Yeah, he had two great outings. I mean, I know he lost the Cowboy fight, but a really exciting fight. And his fight with Cowboy Oliveira, man, that was fucking just fireworks.
Oh, I know. This should be an entertaining. Yeah, so that was his last one. Was
his fight with Eric Silva too. If you saw that in Brazil when when Holloway took the belt from Aldo, it was that same night.
Dude, he's fought some dudes too. Like
that was a great fight.
Francisco Trinaldo, John
Poirier's on
Poirier,
there.
He's fought. So.
No run-of-the-mill guy, man. He could...
No, Eric Silva, to your point, Alex Oliveira, Sean Spencer, Donald Cerrone. I mean, he has experience. Jim Miller is on here.
Eve Edwards.
So he's coming back down to 155 for this fight against Gregor. Man, I think that this is going to be another one of those potential fight of the nights. This one, to me, it's between
this and the Donald Cerrone Alex Hernandez fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if you just look at the output for these guys, looking at their stats, landed per minute, and mind you, this is significant strikes. So this isn't total strikes. This is significant strikes landed per minute. Gregor's looking at just over 3 with 3.19, and Yancy's looking at over 4.5 significant strikes per minute landed. I see the big difference here, and we pointed this out, is absorbed per minute. Almost identical.
6 strikes per minute. Yancy learned some defense, buddy.
Get those hands up.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a striker. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's brawling, man. That's exactly what it's for. So.
He fights like a Hawaiian, man. You gotta love him.
Yeah. So another interesting stat, Gregor's looking at almost 50% of his strikes landed are significant strikes. That's huge. That means that you're not just throwing punches out there.
He's picking his shots.
Yeah, you're picking
landing them.
Exactly, 100%. So that means you're not just throwing fluff out there, that he's throwing hands out there.
He's not a volume guy. He's swinging to put you out.
Yeah, he is. So
swinging to put you into your grandma's house.
Man, and look at this takedown average. 7 takedowns per 15 minutes for Gregor. Dang.
He's going to put you on your back and he's going to smash you.
But here's a nice stat from Yancey's side. Takedown defense is 83%. So think about the lineup of guys we just said he fought. Granted, I will say a lot of those
them
guys
are great wrestlers.
They're not wrestlers; they're stand-up guys. But still, think about those guys that he's fought.
He's fought
and
veterans.
His takedown defense is 83%. Yowzers!
You know what? I'm looking at that, and nobody's even attempted to take down Gregor because he doesn't even have 100%. He has nothing, which means nobody's even shot on him.
And this is what his fifth fight in the UFC.
Yeah, fifth fight in the UFC.
Fifth fight in the UFC, and nobody's trying to take him down.
To me, that tells me he dictates the fight.
Yes, 100%. I think that there's no other better way of putting that, man. He puts his hands up. He waits for his open shots. He counters really well. I noticed in his last fight, actually in his last two fights, is he'll open up waiting for the counter. But then as soon as he starts landing, he comes forward. He has those nice, crisp power shots. And then he gets that, and then he transitions into that takedown as fast as possible. He'll wrap your legs up. And pass. So, man, he's exciting. This is an exciting fight.
This is a great fight. Here. This is one you got to tune in. If at any point in the night you're feeling like, you know what, maybe I'll take a break, but I'll tune back in, you got to tune back in for this fight.
So who are you saying Vegas has as the betting favorite here?
Gregor's the big favorite. He's tied for the biggest favorite on the night with Greg Hardy, but I'm picking Gillespie.
Okay. Yeah, I'm picking Gregor.
Yancey, too many shots absorbed. I've seen him get hurt a lot in fights. Not a great chin. That weight cut could hurt him even more now than it did at 170. So.
Yeah, it's been a while since he's cut down to 155. It's almost the same story as Cerrone. Great, exciting fighter. I see Gregor winning this and taking over. It's the young guy's time to shine. Yeah. I mean, he's not necessarily young. He's
the
like
new
30,
guy.
31, the new guy. Yeah. So he's not like Hernandez, who's 26. He's a little bit older than him. But, man, he's so exciting. I have him. You have him. Vegas has him. We have Gregor for the win on this one. Potential fight of the night here. So, moving on to the next fight in this long 6-fight card, which, man, you pay for it, is one of the crazy situations. Like when the UFC thinks they have a superstar, they'll put him in as a co-main event. In their very first UFC
one thing that
fight.
we always wonder is we always look at some of these champions that have come around and we go, why are they not promoting them like this? Greg Hardy, right off the bat, man, getting a co-main event on ESPN.
They do it for him, man. His story's right.
I get it. I get why they're promoting him. I'm not mad they're promoting him. Completely understand it. But why do you not push your champions like this? We'll table that topic for another podcast maybe. Mm-hmm. But to move on, Greg Hardy, great 2 outings in Dana White, the Contender Series, both knockouts. I believe both under a minute. I don't think he even got hit in either fight. But, he throws some freaking leather, man. He's a big dude. We talked about a little bit earlier about his past, where he's coming from. Former defensive lineman for the Panthers and the Cowboys. Gone through some domestic violence issues. Maybe he's got it figured out. Who knows? We'll find out.
Yeah, and so this other guy's actually coming off of Dana White's Contender Series too, Alan Crowder. We haven't watched him before, so I don't want to say
Justin Willis knocking him out. Justin Willis at heavyweight got some hands. Son.
Yeah. Justin Willis is. I mean, we saw him. He fought Hunt last, so we saw that. Although he looked terrible against Hunt, but that's
tough fight.
Yeah, that's
he's lost. He got knocked out by Curtis Blades back in the amateur circuit.
Yeah, so back to that. Yeah, back to your point though. He's here for one reason. I think you made a great point when we were shooting our DraftKings podcast.
Yes.
Tell me what he's here for, Sean.
Alan Crowder is the sacrificial lamb for Greg Hardy and for all of us. This is to 110% promote Greg Hardy as the next big thing at heavyweight. Daniel Cormier obviously leaving soon. Not really a lot at the top there. No fresh blood. Greg Hardy is that fresh blood. And they are giving him a chinny dude to knock the F out.
Yes, he is. Yes. He, to your point, is a sacrificial lamb. He came in from the Contender Series, so he did win that one. Especially looking at the Vegas odds.
Looking at his record, the two decent, or I shouldn't say decent, the two good fighters he's fought at heavyweight have knocked him out.
Yeah, I mean, those weren't even
Not
close.
TKO, KO.
Yeah, those weren't even close, to
No.
your point. Curtis Blades and Justice Willis, I mean, KO'd him.
Justin Willis has hands. Curtis Blades, not so much. Granted,
Yeah.
that fight, he could have been in mount or something, you know.
Yeah, because he got TKO'd, and I mean, he only went to the second round on that
Yeah.
one. Got TKO'd. Justin Willis, he got knocked out in the first round, like literally halfway through that first round. Again, I don't want to make it sound like that's bad because Justin Willis has great hands. Actually, I remember watching that fight. I do remember watching that because you know what it was? It was December of 2017. That's how long ago it was. And that actually, I think that was the first time I watched Justin Willis. I was like, God, this guy's got hands.
Yeah,
But-
his hand speed's unreal at heavyweight.
yeah, for a guy like him, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a shorter dude, but
back to-
Alan Crowder's 6'3" dude. He's coming in a little bit underweight compared to.
I think Greg Hardy cuts for the limit.
Yeah, Greg Hardy comes in at like that 265 limit. Alan Crowder, I think his
Trying
last
out of
one
American
came
Top
like
Team too, so-
245. So that's interesting as well. And you know, American Top Team always
They're going to have him
turns
ready.
out. Yeah,
They're going to have him ready.
100%.
They're going to get him with the right training partners, the right game plan. They're going to have him ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll be fun to watch. Again, I know he had two of his Dana White Contender Series, one by TKO, first round.
17 seconds and 57 seconds. So
Ridiculous.
And then they put him in the amateur circuit, and he won in 53 seconds. So this guy doesn't know what a minute is,
Yeah, seriously.
which is a little scary because at some point he's going to have to fight around.
Yeah,
So, but
yeah.
we'll get to that point later because it ain't going that far.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing special here I've seen from Hardy other than he has big hands. He's 6'5". He's a big.
He's going to be
heavyweight.
one of the most athletic heavyweights there is. Playing football in the NFL, you know he's going to be an athletic dude.
Absolutely. And he's only 30 years old, so
Still young, man.
still young.
Still got some fight in him.
So that one should be fun. Absolutely. Anything you wanted to add to that one?
R.I.P. Alan Crowder. Thank you. Somebody had to step up, and you did it. I hope you get paid well.
So who's your favorite? Who are you picking on this one? I know I don't.
I don't
have to
even know why you
but
ask.
I figured. So Vegas actually has this one. So you were talking about Gillespie.
This is the
This
tie
is-
for the biggest fight with Gillespie.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the same odds as of yesterday. Hardy is the minus 550 favorite to Crowder's plus 375. So let's just say it for what it is. We're all picking
I do
Hardy
have somewhat of a
across the board.
feeling that the amount of crap I'm talking about Alan Crowder, I'm going to be sitting here Sunday afternoon going, dude, Alan, you proved me wrong. You proved me wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, what does that say? Even if he beats a 2-0 fighter.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, he's 9-3, so he has 12 professional fights to.
You're still nothing.
You're still nothing, Lamb. You're still nothing. You're too soft, kid. You're too soft.
Feed him back to Gerald Willis. Justin Willis, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Gerald Willis from the Hurricanes.
Mixing up sports here a little
Yeah.
bit, but that's all about the U. Sorry, giving a little shout out to our
Shout out to
unofficial-
Martel.
Shout out to Martel.
Welcome to the U, baby.
Welcome to Miami, son. So let's jump into this main event. I think there's a lot to talk about here. So
I'm actually really excited for this. I'm more excited now for this fight than I thought I would be.
yeah.
At first, when they announced, I was like, doesn't do a whole lot for me. But,
No.
you know, I don't know if it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a great fight, but I think it's going to be a good one.
I think it has the potential to be really good because even though Henry Cejudo is not necessarily the most aggressive fighter historically that we've seen, Dillashaw's going to make you fight the way he fights. I call him the style stealer. So we have the style bender, and
I think
Adesanya, he's the style stealer. The last guy that
I think
Go
he's
ahead.
taken Dominic Cruz's style and he's modernized it. I would
He
say.
he has, because you know what he does is he'll just on the point of what he does right now, Dominic Cruz is actually the last dude he lost to, funny enough. But I
Hard to
say
beat the
that
guy you stole the style from.
he
Guy
lost,
invented it.
which is why I thought he was going to lose to Garbrandt, because I thought Garbrandt just had the number after he beat the bricks off of Cruz.
Garbrandt could
but
definitely beat Dillashaw.
if he
he
had
just-
a chin.
And if he didn't get once he landed one time on TJ in both fights, the second he landed on him, he was just headhunting after that.
Yeah,
TJ's too good to get knocked out just by somebody who's just going straight for the chin on power shots. You're gonna have to be smarter than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you're fighting a guy trained by Dwayne Bang Ludwig, you're going to have to come with some technique, son.
Yeah, because to that point, though, I mean, the way Dillashaw moves is just so it's unique against.
It's bouncy. You know, he switches stances a lot.
Yeah, so
in and out.
And it's really tough, you know, when you're striking to think about how he does the level change. He pops in and out. He does one punch, which is why I never found Dominic Cruz particularly exciting, is because it's interesting to watch it, right? To see that, but it's only one punch in and then you're out. One punch in,
TJ's a little bit
out.
more combination.
So what TJ does is he'll go to his traditional Muay Thai style as soon as he sees that opening.
That's that Dwayne Ludwig.
He's gonna close that stance up, and he's gonna he's gonna focus on keeping those hands tight and counterpunching and throwing hard.
Yeah,
because that's the exciting thing.
He's got pop in his hand.
Oh, 100% he does. So that's 100% the exciting thing with him. He'll change that as soon as he sees the opening. He uses his knees well. He uses his kicks well. He has this great combo that I love seeing where he dipped down and then he came up with a left kick, which I love that one. You fake like you're going to have the takedown because he can threaten that, absolutely.
And he can blast kicks all night long if he wants. He's got great wrestling.
Absolutely. So
I mean, I wouldn't take his wrestling over Cejudo, who's a gold medalist, but he's got good enough wrestling to not have to worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So to that point, I mean, I think, and then on Cejudo's side, let's talk a little bit about
bit of an interesting path here, isn't it? I mean, undefeated when he fought Demetrius, gets embarrassed, really. I mean, he was talking like, he was the savior of the division and how he was going to kill the mouse. And then DJ just knocked him out in the first round, just dominated, manhandled him.
Beat him in the wrestling.
Well, I think Cejudo took him down for a second. DJ put his feet on Cejudo's hips, pushed him right off. And that's where it was all downhill from there. Goes on to fight Benavidez after they did the Ultimate Fighter together. Lost that split decision. Close fight, but gets a couple good wins. Back with Demetrius Johnson. All of a sudden, again, it's about killing the mouse. And early in that fight, I think if you remember, Cejudo had something going on with his knee or his ankle or something. He looked like he had torn something or broke something. His leg was all wobbled. You're thinking, well, DJ's going to wrap this thing up. Goes on to win the fight. I personally think Demetrius won that fight, but I could see definitely how they gave it to Cejudo.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a split decision. A lot of people disagreed with it, especially since it was so close. They're like, how are you going to take it away from such a dominating champ on such a close fight?
That was part of my argument is somebody who's dominant as DJ is, I don't want to see him lose a split decision.
I know, that was terrible.
I want to see somebody beat him for sure.
Honestly, the way he was treated within the UFC, you knew that
was I was very happy. DJ didn't seem too upset about it. He's like, I think he knew what was going on. I think he didn't want to deal with Dana anymore with that belt.
Yeah, he seems happy, but we're focusing on Cejudo right now, so obviously he has the Olympic caliber wrestling, which is
the striking's getting better every fight, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to TJ's.
That's going to be his problem, because if you look at some of the better strikers he has faced, Joseph Benavidez, who we talked about earlier, boring, but he has that in and out style that you can somewhat compare to TJ and what he's going to show him on Saturday. Didn't win. Demetrius, the fastest
Demetrius
guy.
beat him in the striking, even in that, even in the rematch. Mm-hmm. It was the wrestling that I feel like that gave Cejudo the edge in that fight.
Yeah. So to me, this is TJ's fight to lose. But there is a wrinkle in that, and I think that's what you were going to bring up.
Yeah. The only question I have on TJ is, what is the weight cut going to do to him? Because he hasn't cut down this weight before. He hasn't fought. I know he was saying this the whole time. He was even trying to get to fight with DJ about this. Yeah, I can fight at 125. It looks like he's going to make the weight, but he doesn't know how his body's going to react when he steps in that octagon after that weight cut.
Right.
We talked about it earlier about fighters moving up and they feel so much better with the power in their hands. He's not going to have that power that he had at 135.
And, to that point, too, the way he moves is very draining of your energy. Yep. That in and out style.
Yeah, what kind of cardio hit is he going to take?
Right, absolutely. Cejudo can go 5 rounds.
Yeah, he proved it.
Yeah, so, TJ can, too, but with
we just don't know. We just don't know at 125 he will be able to go 5 rounds, but will he be able to fight at the same pace, the same style? Will he be able to do the exact same things he did at 135? If he can, picking TJ 10 times out of 10 for me. Mm-hmm. That's just the way I look at it. The size. I think technically striking, he's better. He can wrestle with Cejudo, even though Cejudo's a gold medalist, but it's MMA wrestling. It's not straight up wrestling. So I'm picking TJ.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to pick TJ too. I think he's just so well-rounded. He's a little bit bigger. I think it's like a 2-inch difference in height, but
yeah, not as big of a size difference as I thought it would be at first, but he still is a little bit bigger.
Yeah. So, I don't. Let's see. Let's take a look at the stats before we start going through and making significant strikes. Dillashaw's looking at really high volume.
5.38, man.
That's high volume, significant strikes.
Yeah, that's great.
To Henry Cejudo's got high volume too. Actually, 3.4.
It doesn't look as good, but it's pretty good.
His doesn't look as pretty on TV, when he's fighting.
Both
but
guys land at a good
there.
percentage, 42 and 41 respectively.
Yeah.
Don't absorb a lot of shots at 2.6 and 2.94. Obviously, if you're landing a lot of shots per minute, you're probably absorbing some too. You're just opening yourself up to counter shots. That's just the name of the game for that. Is the way you take them, I guess. If you're rolling with them or if you're catching them on the end of punches rather than catching them, right in the meat pocket, right? Right in the
right in the pocket, right. Yeah. And to that point, that's true too. And then the takedowns, looking at this as well,
very similar takedown accuracy and defense. It's pretty much even.
Yeah. So. This is one of those things where I think the numbers just don't tell the whole story.
No.
TJ, again, to that point, TJ is a better fighter. He's going to be able to stand up. He's going to be able to do what he wants and dictate the fight and the pace of the fight.
The weird thing for me is Cejudo fights like Machida, but he doesn't come from a karate background. And to me, that's just a little weird. I know he's had some success doing it, but I think against a high-level striker, it didn't work too much against DJ. It did a little bit, but I don't think it's going to work against TJ.
Too tall.
Yeah.
Too tall, too long. He knows how to do it. He's fought the better fighters historically.
He's going to blast kicks.
John Lineker, Cody Garbrandt, Rafael Assanio, Dominic Cruz.
People think he won that Dominic Cruz fight. I don't personally think he did, but it was definitely a close fight. Henan Barao, he was the one to knock off the 10-year reign.
To that point. So
knocked him out both times.
Yeah, Mike Easton was a good fighter. So
Dodson.
Yeah, so he's to that point. He's fought. To me, he's fought the better strikers. He knows what he's doing in this one. I have TJ all the way through. So I'm sure you do as well. So I'll write you down and let's see what Vegas has.
A little bit interesting though that we talked about it off the air. I believe that in the champ fights, the lesser weighted opponent has won. But true. This is the first time in the champ era that somebody's going down to challenge a champion. So the challengers are undefeated. We're sticking with the challengers.
That's true. Because I think what we were saying, but
something's gonna give.
Yeah, that's true. Or you were saying that before, how the lighter fighter has gone up in one, but this is a situation where the challenger is actually coming down to fight. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
And the note, TJ has said he wants a Max Holloway title fight if he wins this one. Which
run, kid, run. Stay where you belong. 125, 135.
Stay in your lane.
That's where the big boys play at 145.
I'm picking Max 11 out of 10 times. I know what I said.
Can you imagine, dude? He's 5'6". He'd be fighting a guy that's 6 foot tall, knows how to use his range, and can knock you out. No, you're not going to 145. That's cute though. That's cute that you would even say something like that.
I think that's just hype.
Yeah,
that's just hype. But
I don't know. He might actually do that if
TJ, if you do it, good on you for the balls, but stay in your lane.
Would Max even want to take that fight?
I don't think so. I don't think Max would want that fight. I think Max. I think he wants Moicano maybe to kind of polish off the division. Maybe Edgar. I think he wants to polish off the division, and I think he's got his eyes set on 155 sooner than later.
I think so too.
Hopefully, he meets Tony Ferguson.
Oh my God! That fight's
the fight that nobody knew they wanted.
I know that's true. But back to this fight. So TJ Dillashaw is the -210 favorite as of Wednesday, and Cejudo is the +170. I think that if any of them can change, I think that this one is one that can change on weigh-in day, depending on what Dillashaw looks like.
Yeah, because none of them, the other one's really crazy. Galipsy and Medeiros are both coming down. Cowboys, he's already been at 155. I don't think that's going to really affect anything. I think this one, because Dillashaw coming to 125, Cejudo's had problems making 125 before it as well. So I think Vegas is going to be looking at them on the early weigh-ins, seeing what their bodies look like, and seeing where the betting lines go, because it is about when people are putting money on the fighters. That also affects the lines.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to keep track of that one this weekend. I'm going to see how the betting lines look before the fight starts afterwards, because not much is going to change between now and then, but you do see a lot of shifting after the weight, because when they see the weight cuts, and if guys are like struggling to get up on the scale,
and
men and women,
they like to look at the face-offs too, the official, the weigh-ins that will be on ESPN now. They like to see those, how the fighters react face to face. There's some mind games that get played in those. They do it for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
They wouldn't do it anymore if it was for nothing. There's definitely some mind games that are played in those face-offs now.
100% to that point.
I thank Conor McGregor for that. He's made weigh-ins exciting.
That's true. I agree to that point, and that's where you're going to see the next big shift in the odds. The odds are going to stay pretty
after
steady
the
right now. They've changed a little bit. But it's so little.
I would think after the face-off, that's pretty much it for the.
Yeah, it's actually shifted a little bit more towards Dillashaw this week, which is actually surprising since he's revealed his smaller frame. But it's not much. It's like he was a minus 200 favorite on Monday, minus 205
He's dropping
Tuesday.
5 points a day, so he could be at minus 215 right now, the way Vegas is going.
It is. So that's what we're looking at right now. But, I still have TJ through this. This should be a good technical fight. If you're someone that's looking for technique and you're looking at how, if you're interested on the technical aspect, I think that this is going to be a good fight. I think that there's going to be a lot of good stuff to talk about in the follow-up to this as well. So,
yeah, to me, the biggest question coming after this fight, no matter who wins, is what happens at 125. Does it stay or does it go?
Honestly, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I was actually I completely forgot about that, and that was what I wanted to talk about too. Is that's up in the air right now. A lot of people are asking that, like, what's going to happen with the 125?
They've released some of their younger and lesser-known 125ers. They don't have a lot left, and I think they're expecting some of their better ones to move up to 135. I think they're expecting Dillashaw to win this fight. I don't think Dana really is giving Cejudo much of a chance, and I think he expects Cejudo to move up as well.
Yeah.
Or he will cut ties with whoever he doesn't believe can move up.
Which I'm surprised that they want to get rid of the 125 division. There's always a lot of small.
I'm not surprised, because I just don't think it draws.
Yeah.
For us it does.
Well, because part of the reason was for a long time DJ's dominated this division, but the other thing too is Dana also never gave him the marketing behind being him, because he didn't get along with him.
He missed a huge niche where DJ was the first champion that was really big into gaming, into Twitch, and you've seen how much that explodes, and he missed such a huge market with that.
Yeah, absolutely. The dude has a huge following. Xbox.
He's got to have
sponsors him.
I would imagine Dana's had to have kicked himself in the ass for that.
No, because he does.
Because DJ was ahead of that stuff, and now I'm sure Dana's looking at that where it is, because they have, guess what? Guess where a lot of those gaming tournaments are? Las Vegas.
That's very true. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. I didn't even think about that.
Dana, you fucked up on that one. You missed a huge market that was untapped, a young untapped market.
A young market full. Yeah, and he has a big following.
All you had to do was go, look, we got one of you here.
I wonder if I can find how many Twitch followers he has.
Oh, absolutely, you could. He's got to be up there, I would imagine.
I wonder what he goes by.
I think it's Mighty Mouse. It's something Mighty Mouse.
We're going to see if we can find how many people that he has following him on here.
Apparently we're watching League of Legends now.
I know. We've completely side railed from this main event here, but who doesn't love him? Though?
We already covered it.
Mighty Mouse on Twitch, you were right.
I'm pretty sure I've looked it up a couple times.
Let's see if this thing loads up. How many people does he have following him? It won't show on here. Damn.
Oh, just try to reload the page. Maybe I don't know.
No, I think it was just this.
Maybe just Google it or something. I don't know. plays a lot of World of Warcraft too, so that's a big Twitch following.
Here you go. Twitch metrics. Mighty Gaming. Demetrius Johnson. He's had plus 145 followers just this month, so through 17. His peak viewership is 847, so I guess that's not as high as we necessarily. Oh, so yeah, here you go. He has 168,000 followers.
It's 168,000 people that you could be getting to pay for pay-per-views or turning into those Fox cards when he was fighting.
That's actually.
And you might have even grown his Twitch following if you had done that. If you had tapped into that gaming market.
Could you imagine? Yeah, because I mean,
God
there's
forbid he makes some money outside the UFC.
Yeah, I know, right? He was. I mean, luckily Xbox was great, or Microsoft was great, kept him on with his Xbox sponsorship after the Reebok deal took over. And then I want to say he had one other sponsorship I can't think of off the top of my head, but then he had his Twitch too, which I'm sure he's made good money off of because, I mean, he has 168,000 followers.
He does have a family too, so I'm sure he doesn't invest as much time in Twitch as a lot of the top streamers do.
No, well, and he trains hard because he's a world-class athlete.
A lot of those guys put in 12 to 15 hours a day.
It's a full-time job for them, but
it's overtime for that.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll close up shop here. I think we went a little bit over the time frame that we were looking at, but again, this is going to be exciting. Fox made history with their first card, and their last card was fantastic. So let's see what ESPN can do. Let's see how this ESPN era is going to start.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they carry over the same, commentators and everything. I would assume they would. It'd be stupid not to, but we'll see how the pre-fight shows go, the post-fight shows. I'm expecting similar to what Fox did. I'm just expecting to hit a bigger market for ESPN.
Right.
That's pretty much the only difference I see.
Yeah.
I think the format will pretty much be the same, post-fight, pre-fight shows.
Yeah. And to that point, too, I mean, it's just going to be nice to see it on this new platform, to be able to see how they're going to take it and, maybe take it to that next level. That's the whole point of them going to ESPN, is being able to see what that next level looks like. So
if they can hit it.
If they can't, that's true. I mean, hey,
this is their make or break to hit the major sports market.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're kind of hanging a little bit right on the outside, like boxing is. They have some events that hit that major market, but they're looking for consistency inside. The major, like baseball, and they'll never compete with football and basketball, but
or college football at that.
No. They'll never compete with them, but they could be up there with hockey and baseball and golf.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And ESPN's the way to do that. I'm excited to see what the future is going to look like. We're going to see that on Saturday. Oh, other big point. Completely. I almost forgot about this. We're going to be seeing a new UFC belt. New era.
Yeah,
new era, new belt. So, funny story. This was actually supposed to come out at UFC 232, obviously, but with the event-changing location in the last week, Dana said that he didn't want to go through the hassle of introducing the new belt and all that stuff.
Which I almost feel like he should have, just to take the distraction off of John.
I think he was just so exhausted by everything, and I don't think introducing.
I don't feel bad for him.
Yeah, I think introducing a new.
Get it done, Cue Ball. Tell us when you lie to us all the time. When you tell us you're going to make an announcement, make it.
Yeah, so there hasn't been much conversation around that. That should be pretty exciting, but someone is going to wear the very first newly designed UFC belt around his waist this weekend. Again, the main event starts at 10 o'clock. It's happening in Brooklyn. It's going to be exciting on ESPN. Can't wait for it. Tune in. Also, tune into our draft
Check
show.
out the DraftKings episode. We talk about a poll. If you guys would like to do DraftKings with us in a private match, vote on Twitter. We'll be putting that up ASAP. I believe tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow. We're going to
January the 18th. Go vote. Please do it.
Yeah,
let us know.
That'd be a
even
ton
if you
of fun.
Say no, we know.
It just makes the fights more fun when you got, even if you got $10 on the fight, you're gonna watch fights that you don't typically watch.
If you want to talk a little smack to us, it's okay. We can handle it.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what the casuals are for. Is here just to talk smack and say things that we're not supposed to anyway. So
casuals for a reason.
Yeah, like why Paige Van Zant's on the main event of this card.
Everybody knows why. I don't think you have to be casual to understand that.
No, 100% not. But all right, well, thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. And next time we'll see you is going to be for the follow-up show after the event. So
see you Sunday.
Deuces.